We're now ready to complete the upper portion of the exterior front. This is pattern piece B. I've already fused the pattern piece K, which is the stabilizer, to the wrong side of this piece. Now, if you remember, we had a 1-inch drawn line as well as a 5/8 of an inch drawn line. The Decaville light needs to be placed at the top of that pattern piece K, needs to be placed right on that line or a little bit above that line, and fused in place. Now I've gone ahead and I've added a second line here. This line is 2 5/8 of an inch up from this lower edge. Now, one of the things you have to keep in mind if you're using a thicker leather is that if you are using over 3-ounce leather, like a 3.5 or 4-ounce leather, you may end up having to skive this whole section right here, which is approximately 1.5 inches, because this piece is going to be folded up to that 5/8 of, or that 2 5/8 of an inch line. And if you don't skive this piece, it's going to become very, very bulky and thick in here, almost too thick. So you want to consider that when you are choosing a thicker leather. So now what I've gone ahead and done, this is your 2 5/8 of an inch line from this lower edge of the bottom portion of pattern piece B upwards. You're going to take 2 pieces of double-sided tape. The first piece you're going to place right on top of that lower edge of the Decaville light, right along there, and snip off the excess. The second piece you're going to put down here. Now you can put it up here if you wish, but it's just as easy to put it along that bottom edge. It's kind of one of those things where you can choose whichever place you want to put it, because basically when you fold that up, it's going to be in the same spot. So we're going to snip that off, make sure that that is well placed down. You're going to peel the paper off of the DST on both the pieces. Make sure that's down right, and there we go. And then you're going to fold this edge up to meet that 2 5/8 of an inch line, right like that, all the way across. Just like so. You're going to take a poly roller and you're going to roll that edge as well as up on this edge to make sure that you have a nice crisp fold. I'm going to flip it to the other side and do the same thing. Now this leather's got some really great character. It's wrinkled and it's awesome. So now you're going to put this back down with the right side down, so you're exposing the wrong side. You are going to place another piece of double-sided tape on the right side of that fold right there. And just along that edge, you can actually place it just above it, almost halfway between the two if you wish. You are going to be stitching through here, so you may not want to have it near your needle for your sewing machine. Now you're not going to pull that tape off just yet. So basically what you've done is you have completed this upper section of your exterior, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to retrieve all the other pieces and we're going to put the lower portion and the upper portion together. So we're now ready to assemble the lower portion and the upper portion together. One of the things though you will require is your pattern piece A, which is your back. This is used a lot as a guide for a template for your front piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this pattern piece B, which is all prepared and ready to go. You're going to place it with the right side down on top of pattern piece A. You're going to clip the top edge in place, just like this, making sure everything's even and lined. You're going to kind of move this up a bit, and then you're going to take the lower portion and you're going to place it right side down, and you're going to line up your bottom edge so it's nice and even. Remember, this has all been trimmed in place. You're going to clip the front section to the back section. And you're going to do that along the sides. Now remember, we did not glue this upper portion because we need to expose that interior pocket. So you only want to clip up to about that point right there, which is again about 4 to 5 inches below that edge line. So you can expose that section and see what you're doing. So now what you want to do is you want to pull back this lining piece. Just out of the way, that's all. If there's nothing specific about how far you need to pull it back. You need to expose this back side, so you're pulling back that front portion as well. You want to peel the paper off this double-sided tape, keeping everything nice and lined up. And then you're going to flip back. Now make sure your zipper is closed in the closed position, and you're going to begin by pushing up through the center. You want to line up that zipper along that tape, pushing and making sure everything is nice and secured. Going back along this section right here, and if you need to move that zipper pull out of the way, now would be the time that you could open that up. But you have to be very, very careful. You want this to be straight. So there you have that. That's all nice. And so what you have essentially done is you have connected this piece to that double-sided tape. Smooth that nicely. Now you're going to add a second piece of double-sided tape, and it is going to be just above that zipper, just right along that edge. Snip off the excess, smooth that down. You're going to pull that paper off that double-sided tape, and now you're going to bring back your lining, pushing that in place so that secures the lining. You know, you're working around this zipper pull, which can be a bit of a problem, but once you get to the other side, you may find that you can work it better. So now what you want to do is you want to turn this piece over. Remove pattern piece A, which leaves you with your front section all ready to go. Now I'm going to go back in here. I'm just going to close that zipper off and make sure that that is well pushed down. So we need to secure this upper section to our zipper and right through the lining as well. So what you want to do is I'm going to just turn this to the side, and I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm using just a refill pen, which is a Tandy refill. And I am going to place a line, a very light line, approximately 2.5 inches down from this upper edge. So you want to make sure that whatever line you're drawing can be removed, as well as, if not, you're going to sew over it so you do not see that line. So there I'm going to take, and I'm just going to do a little light kind of tack, little marks. Now when I get to the zipper, it's in my way. As you can see, it's folding upwards. So I'm going to put pressure on here, and I'm going to open up my zipper, get it back to the side I've already marked, and then keep going with my marks. So you can see there's my line. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to go to the machine, and I'm going to stitch through all of those layers, back stitching well here, and then continuing all the way down. Now you will need to put your zipper foot on because you're going to be close to that zipper portion right there, and you don't want to be jumping off and creating a bump through here, because this is the front of the bag, and it's very important that this stay nice and aligned. So I'm going to go to the machine now, and I'm going to do the stitching, and then I'll come back. Now my top stitching has been done across the top of the zipper, as you can see right through here. I'm going to give you a close-up of what it does look like. Now I've also stitched down along the sides to secure that fold in place. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this backwards for you. So I'm going to close this now so you can see exactly what that looks like. You have caught the edge of that zipper up on the inside, and you have also given a top stitch so that it's completely covered and you don't see that zipper at all. So I'm now going to just move this back over to the side so you can see. This is what it looks like on the front, and this is what it looks like on the back. So you've gone right through and secured everything in place. Now, I like to add a logo on the front of my bags. So my logo is placed up here. You can put, if you want to, you can put a logo anywhere you want. You can put it down here, or you know what, it's up to you, or not at all. But if you do put it down into this corner, you got to remember that you will have a base that comes up. So make sure you place it in the proper spot and not too low that's going to sit at the bottom of your bag. So when you do put a logo on the top, I generally make a mark across that is 1 3/4 of an inch from this fold of the bottom of the zipper to here, and then I make sure it's centered. I will take my back piece, because my logos have that, and I'll lay that down on top, and I'll make a mark on my exterior portions of the last hole, the opening. Now, some people will use a seam ripper to make their hole. I happen to have an old pair of scissors that broke, and that is a nice edge. So what I do is I place that down through there, making sure my fingers are nowhere around the back area. I then push that right through. Do again on the other side. This is my logo. I make sure my prongs are straight up, and I place those prongs through there. Flip this so that the right side is down, and I place that portion of the logo down. I flip those pieces over, and then I generally will add another piece of leather or vinyl, and I completely cover this with glue. This is a fabric glue, and I lay that directly on top, and that stops any prongs from pushing through or being noticeable on the other side of your bag. So there you go. There is your front all ready and to go. And the last thing you have to do is just trim off. Remember those straight edges on your zipper? What you want to do is just follow the line of that pattern, and then you want to just snip those off on that angle, getting rid of that excess fabric, and you're going to be ready now to add your base to your front and your back. So that'll be section number 3.